I'd be happy to address that if you'd like, Your Honor.
One second. Let me just get on the record. I don't have the record keeper yet.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Excuse me.
That's fine. Can attorneys approach? You said December 7th.
Sorry about that.
I said December 7th. Yeah. Did you get a copy?
I'll go get it. I'll get it. I can put it.
No, that's for you now.
Oh, okay.
We just need the signature there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I speak to my attorney?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Excuse me.
You're still under oath, Mr. Bashara.
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor, excuse me.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I caught myself. I
All
caught
right, now.
myself.
Ms. Lindsay?
Yes. Ready? Okay. Did you go midway in the middle of the page where it says question? And she saw the bill when it came to your home, is that correct? Your answer, she saw the late notice. Question, when it came to your home, is that correct? Answer, yes. Those were your answers under oath a moment ago?
That's correct.
Okay.
But I was mistaken.
Sir, let's
Okay.
go through all of it.
All right.
Okay, so just answer my question, sir. Sir, isn't it true that the DTE bill wasn't even addressed to your home? I'm sorry, could you please? Question, isn't it true that the DTE bill was not even addressed to your home? Answer, yes it was. I had duplicate bills, one sent to my house and one sent to Joe's house. You said that, is that correct?
Yeah, I did say that.
Okay. Now further on down, go to the next page. Okay, so for Joe to have gotten that bill, you had to have given it to him, correct? Answer, this bill here? Question, yes. Answer, yes. You did say that, correct?
Well, let me look at it.
Okay.
Take your time, sir.
Okay, that's not correct, though.
Okay, but you said it under oath, correct?
I made a mistake.
Okay. Now, can we have the bill that the envelope that you put the check in for Joe?
The picture.
Yeah. Could you zoom in on it? Could you read what you said you paid Joe for?
Payment for painting, cleanup, and work. MAC.
Okay, but a little while ago you said you never even had him do painting. Is that correct?
I consider drywall a part of painting.
But
I did
you
say
that?
I did say that he did not paint. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And
Okay.
But earlier you said you made a distinction between drywall and painting.
Didn't you? Didn't you say it was a difference between drywall and paint?
Absolutely.
But
Okay.
now the envelope indicates that you wrote what?
It was just a general note that
What
he
does it say?
he did cleanup work, painting, and miscellaneous work.
Paint
Yes.
for paint. Payment for paint. Okay.
All right. Well,
Now let's move on to certain things you said to Rachel about your financial situation.
about what?
Your financial situation.
Okay.
You had discussed your finances with Rachel, is that correct?
On several occasions, I did. Yes.
Okay. And you indicated to her that your wife was a substantial contributor to the household income, is that correct?
I may have. I don't recall the specific words, but I may have. Yes.
And did you indicate to her in your discussions about your life with Rachel that it would change because of the finances, is that correct?
I did say that.
Okay. And did you indicate to her, can I have 69 up, please? Zoom in on it. Did you indicate to her you would rather be poor and happy than rich and not so? Did you tell her that?
I don't recall, but I'm reading, so let me read. I may have said that.
Read the whole thing and then we'll ask you some questions.
Right. Read it to yourself, and then we'll be able to, so Ms. Lindsay can ask you questions.
Yes. I've read it.
Okay, you indicated to her you'd rather be poor and happy than rich and not so. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And you told Rachel that you were not happy with your wife, is that correct?
Yes,
And that was a lie, is that correct?
that is correct.
And you told her that to keep her in the relationship, is that correct?
I told her what?
You told her that to keep her in the relationship, correct?
Yes,
Now, you didn't have to tell her anything about your wife, period, correct?
no, that's not correct.
You had to disparage your wife to Rachel then, correct?
I didn't disparage her. No, that's not correct.
But at any rate, you indicated you were not happy with Jane, is that correct?
To Rachel, yes.
Okay. You could have just simply said things weren't working out, right?
I did say that.
Okay. But you also specifically said you weren't happy, correct?
I don't recall specifically saying that. I may have made reference to that, yes.
Okay. And once again, given the choice between the truth and the lie, you chose a lie, correct?
That's correct.
Now, you also indicated that, finally, as to the income I will be missing, oh well, you said that, correct?
I may have.
Did you read it in the email we just had up?
Take a look at the email.
I read that email, but I don't recall seeing,
Finally, well,
oh, well, yes, I did, there it is, yep,
finally,
Right.
as to the income I will be missing. And the income you will be missing would have come from your wife, correct?
yes,
Because not having your wife's income would have substantially impacted on your style of life, correct?
not necessarily, no.
But you said it in that email, correct?
I made reference to a number of
You said it
things.
in that email, correct? We're only talking about the
Answer the
email.
question, Mr. Bashara. Did you say an email? Yes or no?
Repeat the question.
The question is, did you say in the email, or did you imply in the email that your style of life would be impacted by not having James?
I made that implication, yes.
Okay. And that implication was a truth or a lie? Which was it?
Pardon me?
That implication was the truth or a lie? Which was it?
It was a lie.
Okay. And once again,
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it was the truth.
it was the truth.
Yeah,
The truth is that Jane's finances, without them, your lifestyle would be substantially impacted, correct?
no, that's not true.
Okay.
That's what I implied, but that's not the truth.
Okay. So once again, given the choice between telling the truth and a lie, you chose to tell a lie, correct?
I didn't tell the full truth.
Well, what is the lie? It's
Be-
not a
Because we're talking about Jane's income, but I had other sources of income.
What is the difference to you between a full truth and a lie?
There's a big difference.
Like what?
When you tell someone a partial truth, it may not be the whole truth, but it may not be necessarily a lie.
Okay, well,
I would miss, let me tell you, Your Honor, I would miss
Hold on.
I would miss Jane's income, absolutely. Would it have affected my life? No.
But that's not the question I asked you.
What was
I
the
said,
question?
What was the difference between a lie and a half-truth? You're omitting things that are significant. So what's the difference?
Because you may be omitting things, but those aren't necessarily untrue.
Okay.
Go ahead, that's fine.
Okay. The things you omit are for the purpose of deception, is that correct? Or the purpose of misleading, is that correct?
For the purpose of misleading, yes.
Okay,
thank
very
you.
good.
Okay. And it was your intent to mislead her, correct?
Not all the time, no.
Most
In-
of the time.
in this email-
In this situation, wasn't it?
In this situation,
Okay. And you indicated that your mother is generous and your mother would help you out in income situations, is that correct?
if I needed it, yes. And yes, she is generous.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
wait, just hold on for a minute. You indicated that you were not in a relationship with Rachel, but yet you're making all of these statements about being together, and you wanted to mislead her in order for her to stay with you. Why?
I'll tell you, there's two reasons. One, because it's very hard to find in the lifestyle a
good
submit.
slave?
Correct.
Okay.
That's exactly correct.
And what's the second one?
that we did get along well, and sometimes, the person that you were with in that scenario, you can't necessarily go out and replace them. I was actively looking and talking to other women at the same time.
So you just figured that you would just tell Rachel lies till you got you a new slave in
Well, it
charge?
wasn't like I told her lies all the time. A lot of it was a fantasy, Your Honor.
Oh, you told her a fantasy. Okay.
We both told each other fantasies. If you read her writings are very fantastical.
Okay. Madam?
Okay, yes. And you say you're laying out the last few lines of Ewell. My future, a future with you at my side.
I do?
I as well think you are pretty neato, keen, and most swell, and I am your master Bob.
Yes, I did say that.
Now, that wasn't the last time you spoke to her about finances, is that correct?
I don't recall.
Do you
What's the date of this?
Okay, well, we'll go on. Let's look at 64, 7/15/2011.
Okay.
You once again are professing, can we go to the first paragraph, please?
Pardon me?
I'm talking-
I can't.
Thank you. The first full paragraph, you indicate to her, I doubt that I can find someone as close to what I want in my life for the rest of my life. You indicated that to her, and that was the truth, correct?
I'm reading it. Let me finish reading it.
Please let him
Okay,
finish.
I thought, I didn't know.
He has to read it a little slower because
Okay.
his sight is on.
Yes, that is true. I did write that, and that is exactly what I was telling the judge. That's true.
That's not fantasy.
That you wanted her in your life for the rest of your life,
Did
correct?
you want that?
I doubt that I could find a slave and a submissive in my life as she is. Yes, that's what that was in reference to.
The answer to that question is yes.
What was the question again?
If you would just answer the question directly, sir.
I'm asking you to repeat the question, please.
I want her in my life for the rest of my life. That was true, correct?
That is true.
Now, go on down to the, I think the third full paragraph, that begins with now, we begin. When you finish reading that to yourself, let me know.
The whole paragraph you want me to
The
read?
whole
Okay,
paragraph.
very good.
Yeah.
Very good. The camera's in the way on part of it.
Yeah, I can't see either.
Okay?
Go ahead, counsel,
Okay,
and
thank
ask the
you.
question.
Okay. You're talking, in this email, you're again talking about money, is that correct?
That's correct.
You're telling her that you're going to sell Middlesex?
That's correct.
Okay. And you had intended to sell Middlesex, is that correct?
Pardon me?
You intended to sell Middlesex, is that correct?
Jane and I did intend to sell Middlesex, yes.
What you said, do you see Jane's name up there in that
No.
email?
No?
Okay, I'm
Okay.
asking about you. You intended to sell Middlesex, is that correct?
That's
In that
correct.
email.
That's correct.
Okay. And you indicate that Rachel will never want for anything, is that correct?
Yes.
Was that the truth or a lie?
It was a fantasy.
Or fantasy.
No, Judge, can I ask my question? that was the truth or a lie?
He says a fantasy.
Okay,
Well,
so the fantasy was a lie.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, to the next page on that email, specifically the last paragraph of the next page. It's, so Rachel. Could you read that to yourself, and when you're finished, let me know.
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. You describe not having her in my house and the need to hide is a huge rock lifted off of us. A rock I am lifting now. Who is the her you're referring to?
I would think it would be Jane at that point.
Okay. And you're describing Jane or equating Jane with being a huge rock, correct?
No, my life,
With Jane was a huge rock.
no, I'm talking about my whole life as far as the life that I had, yes.
Okay,
The,
so
the life you had as a husband to Jane?
As in everything, community service, everything.
okay.
The responsibility of having a large mortgage, that was a big rock.
And that was the rock you were lifting.
By selling Middlesex, yes.
But you didn't specifically say by selling.
I didn't. I summed it up in that sentence.
Okay. And you indicate that you and her are going to have a life together, correct?
We were.
Okay. You and Rachel?
We had a life together.
But in this email,
Yes.
it's implying that once you lift this huge rock, you'd have a life together, correct?
Yes or no?
I'm reading it. She took, oh no, it's the same one.
Yep. Same one. And you chose the words for this, didn't you? Sir?
Yes, I did choose those words.
You were sitting at a computer at 9:20 a.m. on 7/15/2011.
Okay.
Probably while your wife is at work, correct?
I don't know, what day is it?
I said probably.
What day is this?
What day is it?
7/20/2011. I mean, excuse me, 7/15/2011.
If it was a weekday, then she was at work,
Okay,
yes.
It was a weekday. She
I'll
was at
concede to that, yes.
work. Okay. And you're sitting at your computer, and this is a 2-page email. Is this correct? A long email, correct?
I don't know if it's 2 pages. I saw 1 page, but okay.
Irrespective, if it's very long.
It's a long email, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Right.
And you were sitting thinking about what you could say to this woman to get her to stay with you. Is that correct?
Correct.
And once again, you could have at that point in time said, look, I'm not getting divorced. I'm happy with my wife. I'm also happy with you. Deal with it. You could have said that.
I could have said that.
But you did not, correct?
I did not.
And why didn't you?
Because she would have left, more than likely. She had wanted to leave a couple times.
Okay,
And I
You
used
wanted-
these,
Wait. You wanted the best of both worlds.
that's correct.
You wanted the world you had with Jane
Yes,
and the world you had with Rachel.
absolutely.
Go ahead.
So you chose, once again, between taking the choice between the truth and a lie, you chose the lie, correct?
Not, all that's not lies, no. I plan on selling Middlesex, that's not a lie.
But, okay, stop. But the implications, the impact that it would have on Rachel, that was a lie, correct?
Correct.
So once again, given the choice between the truth and a lie, you chose the lie, correct?
No, not 100%, no.
In this instance, when you're giving Rachel the belief that it's going to just be you and her, that's the lie, right?
No, it's not.
Stop. You said you wanted the best of both worlds, correct?
That's correct.
Rachel didn't want the best of both worlds. She wanted just you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, you're saying these things to lead Rachel to the impression that it's just going to be you and her, correct?
For 2 years, yes.
Thank you. So, back to my original point. Given the choice between telling the truth and a lie, you chose the lie, correct?
Yes or no, Mr.
Yes.
Bashara?
Okay.
Thank you.
And that was because the lie was beneficial to you, correct?
Yes.
And if you told the lie, you wouldn't lose both.
I'm sorry?
And if you told them both, if you told Rachel this lie, you wouldn't lose her. And you had Jane. So you wouldn't have lost anyone, right?
I don't understand your question.
You had Jane
Correct. And I had Rachel.
and you had Rachel.
Correct.
But in order to continue to have Rachel, you had to tell her this lie. Is that correct?
For 3 years, we went back and forth.
But you told her lies.
That's correct. And she lied to me as well.
But you told her lies about you leaving your wife. Is that correct?
Correct. And
And you're the master, right?
that's correct.
So if you're the master, don't you control the tenor of the relationship?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Now, Rachel, you asked Rachel to come to your house to mingle in with the mourners on the day your wife's body was found, correct?
I sought solace.
Yes or no? Did you not invite Rachel into your wife's home on the day her body was found?
No,
Yes or no?
not on the 25th. On the 26th, I did.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, 24 hours later, yes or no?
48 hours later,
Or
yes.
48 hours later.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
In your home that you share with Jane.
That's correct.
Okay, go ahead. Let's stand up and take a stretch break. Can attorneys approach right quick for a minute, please? November 4th, okay? And then we'll have another, okay? All right, good. Okay, good. So if can you do any day? Start today? The last couple of days? Okay. All right, go ahead.
Now, in the fall of 2011, in September and October, fall of 2011, you first met Joe Gintz, is that correct?
I did not meet Joe Gens until October.
Is that the fall of 2011?
Yes.
Thank you, this is what I'm asking about.
We said September, and I was correcting you.
I said September, October, the fall.
Correct.
Okay. And also in the fall of 2011, sometime in September, you started you signed the agreement to buy Kensington, correct?
To which? I didn't hear the rest of that. I signed an agreement, is what I heard.
To buy the house on Kensington, correct?
I don't recall when it was.
But it was in the fall of 2011, correct?
I think you're right, yes.
Okay, thank you. So, in the fall of 2011, you meet Gintz. Fall of 2011, you sign the thing for Kensington, correct?
A purchase agreement, yes.
But in the fall of 2011, you also moved Jane moved the things in the garage, so Jane is finally able to park in the garage. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
Okay.
When do you move the things out of the garage?
Okay. Can you pull the book with the transcript, please? Book with the transcript, sir.
Go to this transcript?
Yes, sir.
Which day?
I'm waiting until you get it open. The 26th, when you gave your statement to the police.
The 25th, you say?
26th, when you gave your statement to the police. January 26th. Page 28.
Okay, I'm there. What page?
28.
28?
Yes.
I'm on 28.
Could you read starting to at the beginning to the middle of the page where Detective Olson says okay? Let me know when you're finished, sir.
I am finished.
Okay. And do you indicate that for years, not years, months, she said, when am I going to be able to park in the garage? And I have shit everywhere. And I said, I'll clean the garage out for you. And finally, I got her, in the fall, I got her into the garage. Do you indicate that?
I did indicate that.
Okay, thank you. And certainly,
Are we done with these?
keep it on your lap, sir, we might need.
Okay.
Now, in October of 2011, you had substantial phone contact with Gents, phone-to-phone contact. Do you recall that?
I don't recall you say substantial. There were a number of calls that
Wait, sir,
didn't connect.
Okay, fine, that might be so. But the records indicate that in the month of October, there were 147 phone contacts between you and Gents, with Gents initiating the most of them. The phone records indicate that
Who indicated most of them? Who?
Gents.
Okay.
Okay, and it indicates that in October, he initiated phone contact with you 92 times. Okay? In October,
Okay.
you did not call the police or ask for special attention, correct?
That's correct.
And you did not find anything he did in October harassing or threatening, correct?
Not at all.
Okay. In October of that year, you got a letter from Dean Calcaterra, 2011.
I got a letter from Dan Calcaterra.
Is that Dan? Yes.
I
Related to the mortgage. You recall?
I had Dan craft a letter for me, yes.
And when you met Gents and you got the apartment for him, did you realize that he was slow?
When I met him and got the apartment for him, is that what when I first met him, I knew he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, no.
Okay. And you had to help him fill out his rental agreement?
I what?
You had to help him fill out his rental agreement?
I did fill it out for him,
Okay.
most of it.
And you actually filled out the receipt for the payment of his rent, first month.
I have it here, let me refer to it.
If you wish. If you would look upstairs, sir, it's quicker. Sir, look behind you. Sir, look behind you.
Well, you asking about the rental agreement or the receipt?
I was asking about the receipt, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a receipt, yes, I did fill that out.
Okay. And when you met him for the first time, you indicated it was in St. Clair Shores, is that correct?
I did not hear you.
When you met him, you said it was in St. Clair Shores for the first time, correct?
That's correct, at my apartment building.
And how did he get there? if you know.
How did he get there?
Yeah.
I do not know.
Okay. When you got there, was he there? Or did he?
No, I was there. He walked up and then I think he called me and said, I'm here.
But you didn't see how he arrived, is that correct?
I did not see how he
And
arrived.
there's
No.
nobody to verify that first meeting, is that correct?
No one to verify what?
That first meeting between you and Gintz, correct?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. And when he came to do yard work at your home, he was alone, is that correct?
When he came where?
To do yard work at your home, he was alone, correct?
Yes.
You don't, how did he get to your home?
I don't know.
Okay. How did he leave your home?
Well, twice I drove him. I picked him up.
Okay. So you went and picked him up?
The times that I did, yes.
Okay. So you never gave him directions to your home?
I did.
Okay. Well, if you picked him up, we'll strike that, okay. If you picked him up, why did you need to give him directions to your home?
Because the time I picked him up was not the first time he came over.
Oh.
The first time he came over, I assume, walked, and I gave him directions.
Okay. Now, let's talk about November 2011.
Pardon?
Let's talk about November 2011.
Okay.
Phone records show that there are 152 phone contacts. Your
What
phone,
month? What month?
November 2011.
Okay.
Okay?
Phone records show 152 phone contacts between the phones,
Okay.
with Gintz initiating the most.
With what?
Gintz initiating most calls. Gintz
Okay.
called you 87 times.
Okay.
That month. Okay. During that month, that's also the month that you file your report on Mr. Popham, and he only contacted you 35 times that month.
Yes or no?
Based on what you said in that statement that you wrote out, that Popham contacted you about 35 times. Is that correct?
I don't recall how many times, no.
Okay.
I think it was a lot, yes. I think it was 30, 35, I don't recall.
Okay.
I may have just made up a number and you know, it was a lot.
Okay. But certainly 87 times that Gintz initiated contact is substantially more than 35. Is that correct?
That's correct. It is substantially more.
You chose to make a report on Popham, but not a report on Gintz, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Gintz was not doing anything threatening or anything to you during this time, and you weren't afraid of him, correct?
No, he was not, and I was not afraid of him.
Thank you. And also during the month of November 2011, do you craft an investment opportunity flyer?
Did I what?
Did you craft an investment opportunity flyer? Did you pass out an investment opportunity flyer?
Investment opportunity flyer.
Yes.
I don't recall.
Can I have 141? Look behind you. You recall that, sir?
Yes, I do recall that now, yes.
Okay. And were you passing these out to people in November of 2011?
Yes.
Okay. And you were trying to get people to invest in something, is that correct?
You know, I don't actually recall the date of this, but it was around the first of the year, around before or around Christmas. I don't recall the date.
Okay.
I was doing it for Patrick Webb.
Okay. Patrick Webb, the witness who came in, and he's in Kentucky now, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And he was the witness who came in here and said that, and you were friends with him at that point in time, is that correct?
No. Was I friends with him? No.
Okay.
Well, then why were you crafting a flyer to get people to invest for?
We were acquaintances, and he ran the reformatory, and he was having trouble. And like everyone else I interacted with, I tried to help him. This is simply an offer. I'm acting as his agent, if you will, to people I knew. I went to a couple people that I had known, provided this to him, and there was no interest, and so I told him I couldn't help him.
Okay, very good.
Okay. But at any rate, you're going to people, you're not telling them this is for a BDSM facility, is that correct?
I'm not telling him what?
You're not telling the people you're passing this out to that the money you're raising is for a BDSM facility, are you?
It wasn't just for that. He did other things at his location as well.
But part of it was for BDSM.
Part of it was, that's correct. And it doesn't say that in there because that's a private matter.
Okay. Well, at any rate, Patrick Webb is the person who came. Do you recall having a conversation with Patrick Webb where you said it would be cheaper to kill the bitch?
No, I never had that conversation with him.
Okay. He just came in here and made that.
That's a lie. That's correct.
Okay. During this time in November, you're also seeking somebody to start a polyamorous relationship with you and Rachel. You're seeking a third person.
When is this now?
November 2011.
Well, I may have started one in November, but we were looking for a number of months, actually a year prior to that.
So
Wait a
to
minute,
answer
go
that
ahead, let him
question,
finish,
Jeff,
go ahead. No, just let him finish.
Yeah.
You were looking for what?
Your Honor, when I got into the
No, I
lifestyle,
don't want to hear all of that.
Well-
What were you looking for specifically?
I was looking for submissives to help
But you
and to interact with me as I had had happened over a period of 3 or 4 years.
Okay, so in November 2011, you and Rachel were looking for someone else?
She wrote a profile that said we seek a third, and that was her profile, that was her desire. It wasn't just for me. She also wanted a bisexual experience.
Okay, very good, but I got a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
In order to keep her, you had to lie to her to keep her in this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you allow her to bring somebody else into the relationship when she obviously wasn't happy with the situation?
She wanted a third. She wanted a
Why
girlfriend.
get rid of her? You too much trouble. I'm going to replace you.
I thought about that a couple times.
And what happened?
And the people I talked to and my experiences of searching for another one outside of her were not good. And I realized that, you know what, the person I have is sufficient, and I'll keep her, and I'll do what it takes to keep her.
You'll do whatever it takes to keep her.
Not whatever it takes.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Now, you indicated that it's Rachel's blog and everything, but you gave her permission to do that blog, correct?
Pardon me?
You gave Rachel permission to put forth that blog, is that correct?
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, she had to submit the blog to you, run it by you before she published it.
She did not do that every time, no.
No, but on this time, in November, when you were seeking the third person, did you inspect what she said before she put it on the blog?
No.
Okay. You said not every time, but she was supposed to submit it to you, correct? That was the rule that you made, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And in November 2011, on 11/22, you had contact with Janet Lehman, is that correct?
I don't recall. I probably did, more than likely.
Well, do you recall asking Janet Lehman about relocating to Detroit?
That was a part of the fantasy, yes.
Okay, part of the fantasy that you were going to relocate to, she was going to relocate to Detroit, and you three were all going to live in the house on Kensington.
And this is what date?
Sir, just listen to my question first.
I am.
Part of the fantasy is that you, a third person, and Rachel were going to live together on the house in Kensington. That was the fantasy, correct?
That was Rachel's fantasy.
A fantasy that you were sharing in, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it was both your fantasies, correct?
It was Rachel's fantasy that I went along with. That's
So
correct.
is Rachel calling the shots at this point?
No,
You're the master, correct?
I didn't want.
You're the master, correct?
I am the master.
Okay.
Now, in December, Joe Gintz only calls you 40 times, so the times he's contacting you is dropping off. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
If you say so, I don't have the records in front of me, so I'm believing you.
And certainly, in December, he did nothing to make you afraid of him, correct?
I did what?
He did nothing to make you afraid of him in December, correct?
No, he did not.
He did nothing to lead you to believe that he was going to harm your family, correct?
That's correct.
And you certainly didn't call the police to report him or get special attention on your house, is that correct?
I did not.
In December, you also contact Jim Wilson, is that correct?
In December, yes.
2011.
Jim Wilson and I talked fairly regular, but yes.
Okay. And so you contacted Jim Wilson for a specific purpose this time in December of 2011, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was for the purpose of giving you an alibi for Rachel's daughter's wedding, is that correct?
Yes.
And you specifically told him if anybody asked him that you were down there with him golfing, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you did not want Jane to know where you were, is that correct?
Jane, I think, knew I was not in South Carolina, not in Florida, and was going somewhere else. But I don't know what she. I did tell her that. Yes.
You told her I'm going. Oh, wait. If Jane knew you were going somewhere else, why did you have to call Jim Wilson a lie?
First of all, I called Jim Wilson prior to talking to Jane about it. Well, you asked me a question, I'm answering
Well,
it.
let her answer it now, ma'am.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go
All
ahead,
right.
Mr. Bashara.
I knew that the kids were coming home and that I was going to be, leaving was going to be, for a week, was going to be a hardship, if you will. That there was going to be some questions. So in an effort not to throw Jane under the bus or to do anything, I came up with this, I'm going golfing. And that, I don't think Jane, I think Jane knew I wasn't doing that, but she didn't question it. And I told her that, and she told the kids that, and I told the kids that, and...
Well, let's back up to, you said not to throw Jane under the bus.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Wait a minute, hold on for a minute.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
What I meant by that is, I believe Jane knew I wasn't going to Florida. She knew that I was going somewhere else, okay, because I shared with
So
her...
you told her a lie that you thought she wanted to hear.
The what?
You told her a lie that
Yes.
you thought she wanted to hear.
I told her a lie to give her an out to family and friends over the holiday, yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
Let's talk about the holidays.
I'm not saying that my decisions were right.
There's no question. Go ahead.
Okay,
Let's talk about the holidays.
let's talk about what?
The holidays.
Okay?
Your children are coming home from school, correct?
Correct.
But you chose to spend time with Rachel and her family over your own children, correct?
No. That's not correct.
You did not leave during the holiday season to be with
When
Rachel.
specifically?
December 2011. You did not leave during that holiday season,
No, I did not. I was there until after Christmas. That's correct.
but your children were there longer than that, is that correct?
They were there before Christmas, and I spent time with them,
My question
and they were
is-
there after Christmas,
Okay.
yes.
So, the point is, your children are there for the whole holiday season,
No,
correct?
they were not.
The whole holiday season that you could have shared with them, correct?
No, they were not. My daughter left for Chicago on the 27th or 28th.
Okay. But at any rate,
Yes?
rather than bring in the new year with your Jane, the woman you love,
Mm-hmm.
you chose to bring in the new year with someone else, correct?
No, I chose to help a woman help her daughter have a wedding.
So once again, you chose them over your wife at this point, correct?
During that time frame, yes. I left
Thank you.
Michigan, yes.
Thank you.
Well, wait a minute. What were you doing that was so substantial other than paying money to assist in this wedding for Rachel's daughter?
I did a number of things to help her
That
out.
was so substantial that they couldn't do the wedding without you.
Which they could have easily done the wedding without me.
But you
But
said, wait a minute.
I'm answering your question.
No, you be quiet.
Yes, ma'am.
You said,
Judge.
all right, fine. You said that you were there helping a woman who was Rachel with this wedding
Correct.
over your children. My question is to you, what was your role that was so substantial that you had to be with Rachel and her family opposed to being with your Jane and your family?
I was with my family. Okay, it wasn't
When you
over
left
them.
them.
When I left them, yes, I was with Rachel. I drove her to Florida to save her on the airfare. I helped with making the arrangements for the place where they stayed.
You
And
did that beforehand.
that's correct.
So basically just driving her there?
And helping pay for things.
But you could have done that before you went there.
And when Rachel had a issue during that time, I was there.
What issue?
She had an issue with her daughter. Her daughter wasn't spending enough time with her, and she was upset. And I was there for emotional support as well.
Okay. But you didn't know that was going to happen until you got there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So basically, you could have stayed home with your family. You already paid for everything and organized.
I could have, yes.
But you chose to be.
No, I did not. Hang on. I did not pay for everything prior to that. No.
What did you pay for prior?
When I went there, I had to pay for the limousine. I paid for some of the booze. I helped set up the hall.
Okay, go ahead. That's enough.
Sir, didn't you promise her and didn't you promise Rachel in a previous email that you would be spending New Year's with her because she was complaining about not being able to spend time with you?
Did you say that?
In the past, she had complained that I didn't,
So the
I
answer to
spent
that
time with
question is yes.
Jane.
So the answer to that question is yes.
Did you send her email and say that?
I recall talking to her about that, yes. I don't know if it was in an email or what it was in, but yes.
Okay. And isn't it the fact that you left for Rachel's daughter's wedding on December 26th, the day right after Christmas?
That's correct.
Now, when you went to the wedding, you took part in all the festivities, is that correct?
Well, I'm sorry,
When you went to Rachel's daughter's wedding, you took part in all the festivities, is that correct?
not all of them, no.
But you were there for a good portion of it, and you sort of acted like the father of the bride, correct?
I helped in whatever way I could,
Can you have the pictures?
but I did not walk the girl down the aisle. That's what the father of the bride would do. I took a back seat to the to Rachel and her children, but I did try to offer that support as like a father would of the bride would do. Yes.
If you look.
Yeah.
And certainly, let me just ask you a little bit about this supposed understanding that you and Rachel had.
Okay.
You and Jane had. I'll assume, based on what you said, that the understanding that you had with Jane is that you could go out and get your physical needs met. Is that correct?
Could do what?
Go out and get your physical needs met. Correct?
She said, do what you need to do. Yes.
Okay.
And that was related to your physical needs. Is that correct?
I don't think that was specifically with that. It was the majority of it was for that. Yes, that's correct.
And when did this understanding supposedly come about?
Back 2004, 2005, when we had our issues.
Okay. But within the last year, like in 2010, you in fact had started going to marriage counseling.
We did it for several reasons, yes.
My question is, in
Yes.
2010, you were in marriage counseling.
That's correct.
And there were rough patches in your marriage. Is that correct?
No, I would say no, there weren't.
You're saying there were no rough patches in your marriage?
No, I'm not saying there was none. Certainly, you show me one couple that doesn't have a rough patch. Yes, there were minor rough patches, but certainly not enough to warrant a marriage counselor.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, we can go on, but we got
Do you want me to clarify that?
Not now.
Okay.
I'll see everybody November 13th.
When?
November 13th at 11 a.m. I have a judicial conference to go to next week, and I'm starting another trial on November 2nd. Sit down.
Your Honor,
What do you
well,
wanna do?
I have an issue, and I don't know if you want me to discuss it in open court, but I'm not getting all of my medication over at the
I'll handle
jail.
it. Do you want me to send you back?
I don't want to go back. I want to work with my attorney and my
Okay.
investigators,
Okay.
but I also want proper care.
Okay, very good. This is what I need to do. I'm gonna mark it medical, and whatever medicine he's not getting, make sure that he's getting. If there's an issue, Mr. Ambrose, bring it to my attention forthwith, please.
I'll do that.
All right, very good. I'll see everybody on November 13th at 11. I have the transcripts available. The third, Madam. November 3rd, they'll be available. Did you hear that, Ms. Lindsay? November 3rd, the transcripts of all of these hearings will be available.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.